Let's start by making some review from the previous lessons. 2 to the power of 1 is 2. 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. 2 cubed is 8. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. So 2 cubed times 2 to the 0 is 8 times 1, which is 8. 16 is 2 to the 4th. 8 is 2 to the 3rd. 4 is 2 squared. 4 cubed would be 4 times 4, which is 16 times 4, which is 64. 8 to the 5th is a big, huge number. So up here we get 8 to the 5th, 8 to the 6th. So this is 32,768, just for further reference. And then down here we get 2 to the 15th. So these are some tricks that are going to help you get through your maze. And in your maze, you are going to start here, and you need to finish down here. So we need to zigzag through. So we want things that are the same as 8 to the 5th, and down here, like we just said, that is 2 to the 15th, because 8 to the 5th and 2 to the 15th are the same. As demonstrated here, 8 to the 5th is really 2 cubed to the 5th, and power to a power would be 2 to the 15th. So go ahead, take a little bit of time to find your path. Right away, 8 to the 5th would be here. Powers make 5. That's going to be a 1. Try to find your path. Please pause the video and let the students try to find their own path. Here is the solution. Please check your answers with mine. And every solution is filled in, not just the path. Pause the video if they need more time to look at their solution. Today's lesson is 7.4, Division Properties of Exponents. Our objectives are to divide powers with the same base and to raise a quotient to a power. So put this fraction into your calculator. 4/5 divided by 4/3. So on the calculator, here's what that's going to look like. We get 16, which is really 4 squared. So let's expand this. If I have 5 4s on the top, and I have 3 4s on the bottom, I'm going to get a couple to cancel out. And I'm left with 4 squared, which is the 16 we discovered on our calculators. So here's our vocab for today. To divide powers having the same base, you subtract the exponent. So a over a to the m divided by a to the n becomes a to the m minus n. So for example, 3 to the 7th divided by 3 to the 5th, we get 3 to the 7 minus 5, which is 3 squared. So when dividing by powers with the same base, subtract the exponent. So let's try some of these together. Number 1, bases are the same, so we are going to use subtraction. Y to the 3/4 minus 1/2. So that's y to the 3/4 minus 2/4, so y to the 1/4. Going down, number 2. Bases are the same, so our rule says to subtract. D to the 7/2 minus 3. If we get a common denominator, that's d to the 7/2 minus 6/2. So we get d to the 1/2. Number 3. We get 2 pairs that simplify, so my k's and then my j's. So my k's give me k to the 6 minus 1 times j to the 2 minus 5. So that gives me k to the 5th and j to the negative 3. But remember, we can't have a negative exponent, so we're going to move it to the bottom. So k to the 5th stays up, j to the 3rd goes to the denominator. So let's try our challenge problem. If we look at our x's, our y's, and our z's all separately. So in my x's, I get x to the 4 minus 4, y to the negative 1 minus a minus 5, and z to the 8 minus a 1. So we're just using the rule top number subtract from the bottom, top number subtract from the bottom, top subtract from bottom. So I get x to the 0, y to the 4th, and z to the 7th, which would simplify to y to the 4th, z to the 7th. Again, we can apply this property to numbers in scientific notation. Population density describes the number of people per unit of area. During 1 year, the population of Angola was 1.21 times 10 to the 7th people. The area of Angola was 4.81 times 10 to the 5th miles squared. What was the population density of Angola? So we're going to take the population divided by the area to get our population density. So that means we're going to take 1.21 times 10 to the 7th divided by 4.81 times 10 to the 5th. And now we can use that rule we've been talking about where we're going to simplify like terms. So on the calculator, we're going to simplify the red, and then in our heads, we're going to simplify the green. So let's do the green first. 10 to the 7 minus 5 is second. And then on the calculator, I'll tell you what we get in the red. We get about 0.252. So that needs to be in scientific notation, so I need to slide that over. So that's 2.52 times 10 to the 3rd. Otherwise, we could just change that to 252 people. Excuse me. If we go back to that original number, we want to move that 2, so this would simplify to 25.2 people per square mile. So that would be our population density. So here's some vocab. Power of a quotient property. To find the power of a quotient, and quotient means division, find the power of the numerator and the power of the denominator. And simplify. So for example, a over b to the m, we get a to the m over b to the m. For example, we get 4 cubed times 5 cubed. And notice we can't simplify because the 4 and the 5 do not have like bases, just like the a and the b. So when raising a quotient to a power, we want to raise the exponent outside to each base inside. So you cube the 4 and you cube the 5. So the reason that that happens is, let's try this here. How and why does this happen? We have to distribute that cube. So if we cube it, it's going to happen 3 times. So then if we simplify the numerator, we would add 2, 4, 6, and we get 6. And then our denominator, we have 3 y's. And then our x and our y are not like bases, so that would be our best answer. Let's try some more. What is the simplified form of the expression, number 1? So I need to get rid of my negative, so I could do that first if I want. So let's flip our fraction. So t to the 5th divided by 3. So now it just becomes a 2. And now I can distribute. Do square the top, square the bottom. So 5 squared is going to be power to a power we multiply. And then on the bottom, 3 squared. number 2. We need to get rid of that 2, so I'm going to square the top, square the bottom. So this looks like 4 to the negative 3 squared divided by y to the 4 squared. So power to power we multiply, 4 to the negative 6 and y to the 8th. 4 and y are not like bases, so I cannot simplify, but I have to move my negative exponents around. So that's going to go to the bottom, so I'm left with a 1 on top. Put your number first, 4 to the 6th, y to the 8th. Try the challenge question. Please pause the video while students work. So here's the solution to the challenge question. To get rid of the negative exponent, I can flip my fraction right away. So my fraction is flipped, and now I just have a cube up there. So what I'm going to work on is getting each term cubed. Cubed, cubed. So I get 3 cubed, g to the negative 2 cubed, and x squared cubed. And the same thing goes for the bottom. And some of you might not have to write that step out, and you can do the simplifying in your head. Negative 2 to the power of 3, power to power we multiply, negative 6, 2 to the 3rd, positive 6. And in the bottom, 2 cubed is going to stay, and x to the 12th. 4 times 3 is 12. Double check, do we have anything we need to simplify? We have a couple. I see a negative exponent, and I see something that has to get simplified. So I'm going to leave the 3 up and the 2 cubed down. And in terms of alphabetizing, the g needs to be first, so g to the 6th. And then my x would go second. So let's visualize that. We have x to the 6th over x to the 12. Our rule says to subtract. So if I do this, I get x to the 6 minus 12, which gives us x to the negative 6. So does this go on the top or on the bottom? On the bottom, because it's negative. Otherwise, you look to see where is the number higher. There are 12 x's on the bottom and only 6 on top, so that leftover has to appear on the bottom. So this would be our final answer with everything simplified.